My name is Dan, and most of you don't know me, and that's good for you. When I first met Jenny, it didn't start off on a good note. For those of you who do know me, I write emails, and I was mad at her for something that she didn't do, and I sent off a nasty email, which wound up ending with our chief instructor telling me in not so many words to stop being a jerk. But over the last couple of years, since that first email, we've developed a great working relationship, and she was a valued friend and colleague. Before our meeting today at the airport, I fired up my email one last time, and I saw a message from her telling me where some files were that I had been looking for. They weren't there, Jenny, but I went ahead and put them there, so your last email's not wrong anymore. It's just a horrible tragedy what this is, and Jenny, Jordan, Kyle, and Christopher, you're cleared to new horizons. Frequency change approved. So long.
Hi, my name is Bo Hambleton. I was roommates with Chris for a year during my sophomore year, and Jenny was my flight instructor for private pilot, instrument, and flight 2. I had memories with all of them. One of my favorite memories is during Tropical Storm Faye. We were trapped in this house with this terrible tropical storm that was going on, and everywhere was flooded. And we'd been in this house for like 2 days, and we were going a little nuts. And we were all standing in the kitchen, and Chris had gone to 7-Eleven and bought a Monster Slurpee. And the Slurpee cup had, all sorts of reflective, monster symbols and whatnot. And so, what do? We were so cramped up in this house, we wanted to go and get a Slurpee. And we kind of knew that 7-Eleven would not be open. So we piled in my car and we drove as far as we could. We made it down to about Shore Lanes, the bowling alley at the end of Derry, and the flood was it was too great. Like I couldn't get my car through there. So we parked the car and we proceeded on foot to 7-Eleven on the corner of Palm Bay and Derry. And Jordan she was wearing her PJs, and Chris was also wearing PJs. I think I was in some jeans and a t-shirt, and we were soaked. I mean, it was raining. We were walking through flood water, up to our thighs in water, trying to get to the 7-Eleven, and it took hours. And we finally got to 7-Eleven, and sure enough, it was closed, and we were freezing. So we trekked back to the car, and we got in, and we cranked on the heat, and we got back to the house, and it wasn't the fact that 7-Eleven was closed and that, we still only had that one Monster Slurpee cup. It was the fact that, we were friends, and it was the adventure getting to 7-Eleven, and I mean, that was Chris and Jordan's, attitude all the time. They were up for anything. They were up for a good time, even if the ends weren't achieved. So, my other memory, and this is pretty personal, but when I was when I first started flying, I was about 14 years old, and I always wanted to go on a spin lesson, ever since day one. And my first flight instructor was way too scared to go on a spin lesson. And I was about 16 when that plane was sold, and I didn't fly again until I got here, and I was assigned to Jenny as a Flight 1 student. And I think it was like the second day we were doing a ground lesson, and she was just asking about me and who I was, and I mentioned to her that I'd always wanted to do a spin lesson, and she never mentioned the spin lesson again, never, and I was a little concerned by this. We kept going through flight training, and I finally got up to solo, and Jenny soloed me. When I was done with the solo, Jordan was right after me. Jordan and I, our flight training in the beginning was neck and neck, and she soloed on the same day that I did with the same flight instructor. And after we soloed and stuff. I went to, about 2 days later, I went to a ground lesson, and Jenny said, "Oh, I was hoping that tomorrow you could show up at 10 o'clock. I signed you up for your spin lesson." And she also signed Jordan up for her spin lesson. And it totally floored me that from the second day that we met, Jenny remembered that spin lesson that I had mentioned. And she signed it up, and I flew with Dan Beard on the spin lesson. But the point is that she remembered that, and as a reward for us both soloing, she paid for our spin lessons, and she was truly a special instructor. Jordan and Chris were special friends, and I'm going to miss all of them.
My name's Katie, this is Marissa, Will, Rich, and Jess. We were very, very close with Jordan and Chris. Jordan was my best friend. I've never had a friend like her before. She was like a sister to me. No matter what time of day it was, if I had a problem, she would always be there for me. And same thing goes for Chris. Chris was like a brother to me. And to have this happen to two most beautiful people is just a tragedy, and I love them, and my heart goes out to everybody, including the families. And we used to do everything together. I mean, Jordan and I were joined at the hip. There was no separating us, no matter what was going on. I was very, very blessed to have them in my life, even though they were taken away very quickly. I remember everything from the first day I met them till the most recent Disney trip that we just took about a week ago. Jordan and I acted like two little 3-year-olds running around Disney, and we had the best time. And I'm just very thankful that the night before this all happened, I got to have dinner with them and just enjoy a great evening of laughing and just spending time with them and doing whatever we wanted to do and everything that we love to do. And they're always going to be with me. And again, my prayers go out to everybody. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Chris and Jordan did everything right. They studied so hard. Jordan was stressed so much because she wanted to do everything perfect. So some people sometimes thought she was unfriendly because she always looked so frazzled, but it was just because she was trying to do everything right, and that's what they did. Not only did they study, they networked. They looked around, they knew everybody. And they didn't just know people, they were friends with them. They were all the right people. Anybody who came to visit the school, they immediately beelined to them and said, "Hey, I'd love to get to know you better." And that was going to bring them far. And the other thing they did right is they found each other. The two of them were absolutely perfect. One of them loved something, the other one never heard of it before, but soon enough they loved it too. They had the same interests. They loved the same sports teams, and they put up with each other all the time too, through thick and thin. And that's what I'm not going to understand. Why you could take such a perfect love and take it away. They were supposed to get married. They were supposed to have children. Jordan told me once, "I know he's going to be a good father." And now it's like more people are gone too. The children they were supposed to have, they've died too. Almost.